Welcome back to Let's Build a House. Smitty, Amy, and I have a ton of updates. This episode we work on the porch deck, the board and batten and lap siding, the metal porch roof, and we install the garage doors. This chapter of the build has been the most visual progress thus far. Let's build a house. With the deck nailers in, it's time we get to installing the porch deck with some Trex decking. We used two different strategies to fasten the decking. First, we started by pushing the decking to an 8-penny nail and putting 2 screws into our nailers. Once we drove the screw, we filled the holes with a deck plug. We were a little worried those wouldn't come out great, but they're awesome. Unfortunately though, that wasn't the most efficient way to fasten a boardwalk-style deck. Our second strategy involved a flooring nailer. With this nailer, we were able to stand up and move much faster. This gun leaves a nail with a probe on the end to space the board properly. Our new strategy moved us quickly to the back deck. Decking can be pretty dull and repetitive, but you kind of get tricked into enjoying the labor because of how fun it is to see the progress. There's going to be a ton of nights hanging out on this porch. It's worth the effort. Our next big step for the house is finishing the siding. But we have to take a series of small steps to start siding properly. First, we have to trim the exterior windows. Smitty came up with a brilliant way to trim our windows with a metal wrap. I've gotten pretty good on the brake, so I bent the metal for all the windows and Smitty stayed outside and installed them. The initial concern with the metal is that it will kink and look kind of low budget when installed. But I think Smitty and I did a great job with these. Alright, so here's a completed trimmed window with our metal wrap. And up top we kept it long for the head flashing. All 4 corners are going to be mitered, and we use pop rivets to fasten that together. And then for the sides, we actually bent the metal on the brake to create a J pocket. And what the J pocket does is it creates a stealth finish for the siding. So when the siding finishes, it finishes behind this trim. That'll keep us from having all the siding bunched right here and then having to caulk it and ugly it up. I think the stealth finish looks great, and this metal wrap is super affordable, so we're happy. The next step before siding was adding nailers where we're installing board and batten siding. The manufacturers of the product we're using says the boards can nail to only sheathing, but with a little extra labor, we have peace of mind. Once I finish the nailers, it's time to start putting up the siding and turning this house of blues to white. Throughout this segment, you'll notice that we actually started the siding before we finished the deck and even drywall. So much of construction involves parallel tasks. If I were to tell you the exact chronological order of this story, I would completely lose you. After we unloaded all of the siding, we started with the lap siding on the far gable of the house. Our house will be a contrast of lap siding and board and battens, so we started with a 2x6 belt course to break up the two styles. Next, we took some time to staple a product called drain plane to the wall. The siding protects the house from the elements, but the drain plane creates a barrier between the siding and the walls. This allows air to move behind the siding, drying the condensation that builds on the walls from the interior of the house being a different temperature than the exterior. To install the siding, we came up with a pretty efficient approach. Smitty would holler the measurements, I made the cuts and delivered the piece, then he would install the board with his gecko gauges. The gecko gauges act as a second hand and hold you to the proper lap over the previous piece. It's a great way to install siding solo. The only problem with this approach is it can be hard to communicate through the walls, especially when you leave your wingman to record a video. So one thing we've been doing with these raw edges that we cut on the siding is we've been taking the extra Yo!
You alright?
Yeah!
I'm ready.
Alright, coming. Just giving her a paint job. I'm just giving her a paint job.
Say that again?
Nothing! Alright, so basically what I was trying to say is we're just trying to paint over this raw edge, cover it for any moisture or rain. It's an extra step, but we figure belt and suspenders never hurt anyone, right? Our next move was to side the two dormers and the shed dormer on the back side of the house. Once we finish the siding around the dormers, it will be the first time that we'll have to install the corners. To have these fit the way we wanted, we ripped them down on the table saw in Smitty's shop. Once they were ripped down, we cut the bevel on the bottoms and installed them on all 6 corners of the dormers. It's awesome to watch this house slowly become what we pictured it to be. Now that the lap siding is complete on the 3rd level, it's time to install the board and batten siding on the 2nd level above the porch roof, the front of the garage, and through the gable on the garage side of the house. Installing board and batten siding is a 2-step process. First, you install the 16-inch boards, then you cover the seam with a batten. The board and batten style originated in Sweden and Norway and was known as barn or outbuilding siding, perfect for our modern farmhouse. This summer, we've got some more awesome help. Owen and Drew are back from school and will really help move things along. Jenna, who helped last summer with the foundation, will be back next week. There's a good chance these 3 will take us to the finish line. We're happy to have them. With the siding all but finished, we shifted gears to installing the garage doors. With fixtures, appliances, and other expensive materials being ordered, Smitty found value in securing the house. In our search for nice doors, we ran into a small issue. We originally framed a rough opening for 9-foot garage doors, but in our search, the price of two 16x9 doors was astonishing. So we took the time to frame a ladder to drop the rough opening to 8 foot. Once we finished framing the new opening, I went on the inside to frame the garage door goalpost supports. Lastly, Smitty and I installed the garage door bucks so we didn't have to trim around the installed door. With the last board installed, it's time to clean up the garage and prep for the installers. The installers for these doors absolutely rocked. They were smooth and efficient with their moves, and it was a joy to see how quickly they worked through the process.
Alright, listen how quiet these are.
Amy and I love how these turned out. With the weather as nice as it is, Smitty wanted to keep tackling the exterior of the house, so we moved to install the metal porch roof. In order to install this metal roof, we had to measure the entire roof to order the proper sized panels. With these measurements, the roofing company will be able to bend our metal roof at their warehouse, saving us time and aggravation. This is how the metal roof panels look when they showed up. We went with a textured black metal. The gradient texture takes away that shiny look and just adds a little bit of flair. To install the metal roof, Owen and Smitty hopped up on the roof and I stayed down to bend the ends and send the right pieces up they needed. The straight runs are pretty straightforward. You take the open seam of the next piece and lay it on top of the previous panel's rib. Then, you screw it down to the roof. While doing this, we moved right to left to try and keep our boots off the metal as much as possible. Once we got to the valleys, we let Smitty take over. This is one of those times where I wonder how Smitty is able to keep this much knowledge in his head. His combination of knowledge and lack of fear to take on things he doesn't do every day is motivating. Once we hit the second valley, we just let him show off a bit. When Smitty started working on the metal pent roof, it all kind of hit me. We have been working tirelessly to get where we are now. These exterior finishes have given us a real glimpse of what this house will look like when we move in one day. Some days feel long, some days this project feels endless, but the best days are about acknowledging your hard work and realizing all those days led to this. Let's build a house.
Next time on Let's Build a House.